If you've ever gone on a really awesome vacation, but then felt like, oh man, home sweet home, it's great to be back when you return. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. We are back. It's Monday, back in the saddle. Time to get rolling, time to make some money, time to break everything down. It's your boy in 13. We're coming.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Hello and happy Monday. I hope you all had a great weekend, and I hope you're all rested and ready to go because we're back, and it sounds like this week is going to kick some stuff off. Great to see the fam again. I did miss you, folks. Crimp Biscuit, welcome back. Happy Monday. Big B's, Richard, Aobi, JJ, AC2000, Jay Harris, Hustle and Bustle, Beach Bum, Buffalo, X-Sniper, Ashfin, oh man, River, Carmen, all of us. Welcome back. It is good to be back. I'm going to go ahead and bring on my main man, 13. 13, how are you doing, first of all?
I'm doing just fine. How are you? How is everybody?
I am well. I just got to say formally, thank you very much for really kind of shouldering the show here while I was out of town. Great trip for me. Really needed to get it done. And the next vacation that I have scheduled, guess what? It won't be a vacation from this show. It'll just be a vacation from some other responsibilities. So we're in good shape. 13, I cannot thank you enough for all your hard work.
Hey, no problem. Looking forward to live remote trading with Ryan Faloona.
Oh, it's a staycation.
Okay.
It's a staycation. So I'm going to be right here in the main office, ready to go. Okay. I need $1 million because you've been gone. Jay Harris, if I could help you, man, I absolutely would. But what we'll do here today, we'll find some ways to make some more money here today. We're going to start with a breakdown of the SPY. 13, I know one of the things that we were discussing here in the pre-show fist fight is that, hey, we are pretty much starting earnings week, right? We're pretty much getting into earnings here. So we will take a look at the SPY here. We will kind of be seeing how some of these earnings actually affect the broader market. Right now, we're still just kind of sideways. I know we're a little bit lower here in the SPY, this pre-market. We're kind of down. Yeah, we're down near the lows from Friday's intraday session. I don't know that there's too much to really kind of take from that yet. We'll see how this trades here today. When we take a look at the daily chart that you folks are looking at, we're still above the trend line. We're still below those all-time highs. So really the question for me is, which one are we going to do next? Are we going to have a new all-time high? Are we going to come back into the trend line? We're 15 days away from the election. So to me, it sure seems like we'll probably stay range bound, at least for the most part here until the election. I'd be curious to get the group's thoughts here, but this is where we're at with the SPY. 13, you got anything before we move on to some of the individual names?
Yeah, it's just a bit of, it looks like it's a kind of a holding pattern that we're in here. Ever since we broke over this 580 level, we just have kind of been consolidating up here. Got as high as 586.12, that all-time high that we're at now. But we haven't been able to touch that since then. That was on Thursday. Today could be just more of bouncing around in this consolidation channel. So that'd be between the previous all-time highs of 580.33 and 585.27. That's about where all I'm looking for until we actually get some direction this market wants to go. But for now, it's just consolidating. Maybe earnings will give us some more direction.
Okay, indeed, and we will stay on top of those here today. Let's take a look at some of the movers here real quick, but I do want to follow up here with a couple of comments from the chat. Aura Alpha saying, Ryan, how was the 16th hole? Well, I didn't know this at the time, but it turns out that TPC Scottsdale has two courses. The stadium course, which is the one that you're asking about with the 16th hole, was closed for overseating. And in fact, they're actually started to build the stands for the Phoenix Open that doesn't take place till February. So that course was closed and we couldn't play it. We actually played the Champions course and it was tremendous. I saw my first ever rattlesnake in person. I'll go ahead and get a picture loaded up here and show that to you when we slow down a little bit later, but it was awesome. Thank you for asking. Gotta shout this out. James saying that 13 did a great job.
Thank you.
Nobody is surprised at that. Jay Jay, I missed you mentioning LEU here. We're actually going to talk about this as kind of a theme here. This was a massive winner. You're absolutely right. I got to think that this kind of slows down at some point. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Robert, yes, I did have a great time. I had a great time. Great time. So, okay, let's go ahead and get into some of those movers here real quick. I'm going to flip over to this, and we're going to start with ticker GRI. Let's go ahead and load that chart up here. Here you go. All right, this is GRI Bio. This popped as high as 220. This came from penny stock territory last week. We are in dollar territory here today. In fact, in the pre-market, we were above $2. So huge move. Stock's up 186% right here. I see no news. Now, it's possible that because I've been out, maybe I missed something from last week. So I'm really going to be counting on you guys to fill in the gaps if I misplaced it. Not just you, 13, but the entire chat. However, I don't really see any news on this. This sure seems like momentum, maybe some relative volume. Did this move last week? Indeed. Yeah. Looks like it moved a couple of times last week. So perhaps some more relative volume. So what's going on with this one? Ticker GRI, Golf Romeo India.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Is this is on relative volume. I didn't see any recent news. It just had some news earlier in the week, last week, which caused it to run. 2.9 million shares in the float. They did a 1 for 30. They actually did 2 reverse splits this year. First one was a 1 for 7 on January 30th. The second one was a 1 for 13 on June 18th. This company does have 2 quarters of cash, so it doesn't appear like they're in any risk of making an offering. So you can trade with confidence, it seems, there for the time being. But I don't have any news on why this is moving. So we'll just ride this wave for as much as it'll give us a crest.
Okay. Really good stuff there on GRI. Next here on the list is going to be SYTA. This one we should all be at least somewhat familiar with, as we've traded this a number of times here on this show. SYTA, this also was kind of flirting with penny territory, was right around that $1 area on Friday, and today here popping to 250. We're actually above the VWAP right now, so we'll see if this can come back in a little bit, maybe before it sets up for its next up move. Siyata Mobile shares are trading higher after the company announced its next generation SD7 Ultra Series 5G mission critical push to talk cellular radio handsets, which will be available on T-Mobile's 5G network. So this is interesting. This sounds like two-way radio that is on a network. So what's going on with this one? SYTA, nice little pop here. You got anything?
You remember those old Sprint phones that you could make phone calls? Do they also work like two-way radios? Yeah, same thing. So they're just that usually was using 5G. They're saying that their new handsets are going to be available. I'm sorry, not 5G. That was 3G. They're going to be their new handsets going to be available on 5G through T-Mobile. The company does have 3.15 million shares in the float. They did a reverse split back in August on the 2nd. It was a 1 for 18. This company needs cash. Yeah. That's something you got to keep in mind. They may do an offering, could be as early as today, but just keep that in mind. Looks like we just had a breakout in pre-market while just before we came on here. Got as high as 266, and it looks like it's just consolidating now, getting ready for the next leg up. Not sure if we'll get that or not, but let's see what it does. It'll probably be something we have to wait for at the open, but we're still about 19 minutes away from that. So let's just watch it and see what it does. Okay.
All right, good stuff there. Does look like it doesn't even have a quarter worth of cash left on its balance sheet. So really good stuff here with the offering. And you're right, we did actually take this high out. We came back in, but this might be setting up to go. We'll see what the next move here is on SYTA. As a reminder, the stock 3.15 million shares in the float. So this really kind of fits our lower float. Short interest, not crazy here, 7.93% with 1 day to cover. So not totally crazy, but still some short interest in there. Okay, let's look at the next one here. That's going to be BIVI. This is BioVie. Looks like this didn't have anything. Yeah, nothing fresh here. This did have news. Looks like this is regaining compliance from last week. Yep. Friday looks like a big volume day, so maybe another R-vol here.
Yeah, right now, actually, in pre-market, it's just trying to push up through 436 and 440. There's a couple of seller wells there. So looking like that's going to try to push up and go to the pre-market high of 488. But until that happens, let's take a look at the metrics here. No news, moving on relative volume. I think that's what we're seeing here. This company does have a good amount of cash. I don't think they're in any danger of needing to raise money. 5.574 million shares in the float, and they did a 1-for-10 reverse split on August 6th.
Okay. So this actually pretty interesting chart formation. To me, this sure seems like it's still got some strength. We'll see if we can push above this 550 and then maybe this 588 area. The one thing I'd really like to see on this one would be expanding volume right out of the open. So definitely one to watch here when we get there. Good stuff. Next on the list is going to be iSPC. This is iSpecimen. I know we've traded this one here before. This one, not a penny stock, so a little bit higher price. Here's about $4. Looks like it traded up towards 9. We actually printed above 9 before we came back in here to the VWAP. Don't really see any news here. It looks like they had some offering news on Friday, but nothing new here. Stock's up 70%. Do we know what's going on with this one, iSPC?
No, I think this is just more relative volume.
Okay.
If you look at the daily chart, you can see on Friday we did get a high amount of volume, but this is also recompliance. It's funny that this is a larger company because the float is 582,000 shares large. They do have a 11% short interest, but they're able, shorts can cover that in a day, so not really a squeeze candidate, but it could be a little squeezy because of how much is shorted. Aside from that, they did a 1-for-20 reverse split on September 16th, and here we are. I don't know. I don't have any other information on this. It doesn't appear. They do need to raise some cash. It looks like they have about a quarter left, and then they're going to have to do that raise. So that could be coming at any time.
Okay. So we'll see here, iSPC. Next on the list here, I know I'm rolling through them pretty quick. A lot of double-digit gainers here this morning. Next one is going to be XPON, XPON. I know we've traded this one before, but it hasn't really been anything recent. This is XBeyond 360. This did pop as high as 6, although it's really come back into the 4 handle. This is giving the, let's call them bad vibes, right? This is bad pre-market vibes here. We had a huge pop. It's done nothing but leak. It stayed under the VWAP. Frankly, it hasn't even challenged the VWAP here today. So really what we're going to need for this to be a long side trade here today is going to be some type of volume pop, it does look like it's trying to hold 4 here, but again, volume less than impressive, and it really hasn't showed a whole lot of strength here today. So we'll see if that turns around here. Again,
XPON, they just did a 1-for-100 reverse split on the 9th.
Yep.
So this is a recompliance thing.
We also
pay no attention to that short float.
Yeah, we also had a PR here on Friday. We'll see if that drives it. Short interest here looks pretty high. Short float. What were you mentioning there?
I said, well, because of the short.
Because of the reverse. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, pay no attention.
It's a Monday. It's taken me a couple of steps to get back in here, but I got it.
No worries. Also, looks like BioVie is trying to really make that break over 436, 440 in the pre-market. Getting rejected at the time being, but just keep an eye on it. I think this is, if the volume continues to expand, it's going to push through that in the pre-market. But as far as XPON goes, they got they have 539,000 shares in the float after that reverse split they did earlier this month. And it looks like as far as their cash position goes, they are going to need to raise it. They have less than $1 million in the bank, and they lose double that every quarter.
Yeah, I was just going to say they have less than $1 million on the balance sheet, and they lose more than that every quarter. So here we go. That one is probably going to need an offering. We'll see where this ends up here today. It is holding 4, so maybe if we get some type of volume expansion, you'll have a trade there. But that's just going to be for intraday stuff. Be careful on that. Next one here is going to be safe. Spirit Airlines. Which I did not take on any part of my trip, thankfully. Spirit Airlines shares are trading higher after the company extended its debt refinancing deadline. This popped it on Friday up to a high of about 250. Looks like it popped to that exact same level here this morning before coming in. It is staying under its VWAP. I'll be honest, just kind of looking at the movers list and some of the stocks that we've already gone over here today, I'm going to be way more inclined to trade those names than save. So this one, something would really have to change here for this to be the trade that I'm looking for. We'll see if we can move through VWAP here. We've tested VWAP several times here in the morning. We've really been not strong enough to push through it. We'll see if that changes in the regular session, especially if this has some type of volume flow, but nothing yet here. You got anything on safe?
Yeah, so if anybody recalls, when we saw the last big drop in SAVE was because they were mulling doing bankruptcy. So that's what ended up bringing it down under $2. That last time it was knocked that hard down. But now they're talking about extending their debt refinancing deadline to try to avoid having to do bankruptcy. So that's now turning it bullish. Also, you have a short interest of 32.85% with 7.78 days to cover. That is a short squeeze candidate to the T. So this is also squeezing here today. Don't know how much higher it'll go. It could go higher than 250. That has been the pre-market high on 2 occasions so far this morning. If we continue to squeeze some more, we could see it break over 250 and go higher. But remember, this is, it is Spirit Airlines. Just, keep that in the back of your head. The float is
actually really good.
The float is 108 million shares. You know how I feel about these larger float companies. They may have intermittent pops throughout the day, but they will ultimately leak lower. So just keep that in mind with SAVE. Just try to prepare for those pops if we get them, and let it squeeze, and just take your profits on the way up.
Really good stuff there on SAVE. We'll see if we get it. Next here is going to be Lightbridge. This is another one that I've traded long time ago. No position right now. LTBR had a really, really nice day on Friday. If any of you folks caught that, especially with that volume expansion move in the afternoon. Looks like we have a little bit of continuation here today as the stock is up 35% and challenged $10, challenged that double-digit level in the pre-market here. We actually traded above it and came back in. We're hovering pretty much right at the VWAP. Volume expansion looks pretty decent here, at least in the pre-market. We did get a PR here regarding Lightbridge president and CEO Seth Gray interviewed today on Schwab's Network Trading 360. That was from last Friday, or from the Friday, Friday, excuse me. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was saying, yeah, it's from Friday. So it's
sorry, it was hard for me to get that one out there, but you guys know what I meant. This is from Friday, so it looks like there's some continuation here today. 12.5 million shares in the float. Short interest, pretty much negligible. I didn't take a look at the financials. Looks like it's burning about $1.5 million in cash. Got almost 30 on the balance sheet, so no offering needed here. We'll see if Lightbridge gives us a trade here today. Did you have anything else on this one, LTBR?
Just 12.47 million shares in the float, a little bit on the thicker side, but nothing that really we can't get going and moving around for us. So other than that, I really don't have a whole lot on this. They did no recent reverse splits. I don't have anything else. I think you got it.
Yep. All right. Good stuff there. Jay here real quick. FYI, they had the finalists for the Champions Tour qualifier at the course that I played. I'll tell you this, the greens were horrific. It was like a carpet. It was from the seating. Super slow, very, very difficult to read. Not anything that I was used to. But man, really, really close. Missed by 1 stroke. I'd have been upset. That were me. Okay, next here is going to be VSee. I'll be honest, I don't know. We haven't talked about VSee in a while. When I say VSee, I mean ticker VSEE, Victor Sierra Echo Echo. I've traded this one in the past. I think we've traded it on this show, although I can't recall. It was a while ago. I have not had good luck with this ticker, so I generally just stay away from it. This stock here up 28%. Did we have any news on VSee? Looks like we did. Health announces the launch of a specialized program designed to tackle obesity and associated health risks through the integration of GLP-1 prescription medicines with an existing telenet service offerings. Okay, so we're getting a GLP-1 headline here. Looks like they were doing a little bit of walking back on the compounders being able to create some of these things. So I would imagine that that's not necessarily a headwind, probably good for some of these smaller companies. Did you have anything here on VSee, or is this something you're looking forward to trading?
I didn't really cover this one. The way this news headline reads, it just sounds like, oh, hey, GLP-1s are, a thing now, so let's incorporate that into our service. Not the selling the drug, but how we determine the health needs of our customers. Let's just make sure we incorporate that. So it's like a minuscule business decision, and they're making a big deal out of it. That's the way I'm reading this. Okay, a really good stuff here from VSee is long upper shadows in the higher time frames. Not a lot of conviction. Actually, it doesn't look like a lot of conviction here today. So it looks like it's kind of leaking away.
from some of that after-hour movement. Okay, I know we're going to be opening here in just about 8 minutes, but it wouldn't be a morning if we didn't talk about drug. I actually would love to know how you folks did on drug on Friday. When I got back from the activities I was doing, one of the things I checked in on was the market here, and I was like, oh my God, drug went from a 20 handle to almost $80. We're discussing this with a couple of my trader friends that I was with. Wild stuff here on drug. I would say that it's fairly safe to say that at this point, this is just all kind of momentum and craziness. These levels that we're getting pretty much got to just be from technicals. This is just completely crazy. Bright Minds Biosciences shares are trading higher after the company announced a collaboration with Firefly Neuroscience to provide a full analysis of the EEG data in the breakthrough study. So 13, what are your thoughts here on drug? It does look like we're setting up for another day of potential trades here, but what does your gut tell you on this one?
I would just be very careful if you're going to trade this at all. I mean, it can do whatever it wants, but if this trade sets up to where it looks like it has a bullish pattern, then we can certainly try to trade it. When I was trading this one last week, I wasn't in this for very long at all. Like it was just quick in and outs, and it's not hard to see why. I think there was one gentleman. If you're out there, please tell me who you were. I forgot who it was, but they said, "Hey, turn on the fibs. This thing could go to like." I think I have it marked off here on my Benzinga chart. It was like 82 or 81 or something like that. And it went to 79. So that was a really, so right there, the fibs, 81. Okay, so here we go. So the fibs weren't wrong there on that one. We almost got an 81 print. Yeah, for this one, I think that Tony's right. Stay the F away. If you think you can, grab some of this, that's on you. I feel like this is very dangerous at this point. And like I said, when I was trading this one, I kept it very small. I kept it quick. I just had a limit order in and a limit order out, and that was that. Very nervous trading this thing. I didn't hold on to this because I felt like that would have been like trying to take a 737 ride on the wing. So
it's funny that you mentioned that. A couple of things here. Number one, Aura Alpha say that you and him were smoking drugs on Friday, so that's interesting to hear. Hopefully that worked out well. Now, as far as that Boeing 737 comment, I am proud to report that both my to and from trip with Arizona, I guess the flight to Arizona and the flight from Arizona, both on Boeing 737 planes, and here I am unscathed. So thankfully, everything worked out on those Boeing planes. But anyway, glad to hear that you're not smoking drugs. I would agree with you. I would kind of be careful with this one. I suspect that there's going to be kind of a huge move down here. And that's actually a segue into Jay's comment here. Moves like we're seeing in drug and Oklo make me a bit nervous. Now, this OKLO, this is another one I kind of wanted to go to. The rest of these on the movers list, probably not great, but this one has been a theme now since before I left here. This is going to be some of those nuclear stocks. These moves are crazy, and you could just take a look. This Oklo here, this moved from about $5 to 20 in very short order. There are a bunch of other stocks that kind of moved with this. I know SMR was on the list. I know we talked about NNE. Jay, you've been talking about LEU and CCJ quite a bit. The LEU call is still one of the crispier calls that we've got here. But if you take a look at the daily here, here's OKLO, here's LEU. Okay, these are huge moves. These things are extremely extended. So I'm nervous about that too. My question on some of these bigger stocks like CCJ and LEU is, where's the short, Jay? Because even if you believe in this long term, haven't they moved too far too quickly? I think there's probably a regression to the mean coming here at some point. So I'd like to know what you're thinking about that for the purposes of trading. I am a little bit nervous on those moves too, but we're going to make the best of what we can do here.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on these?
Well, I was just thinking, here's me thinking out loud. I feel like the really big, names that are in this are going to want good liquidity to get out. So I think before this whole theme ends, you're going to see a big exit, a big run for the door and profit taking. That's just my thought, though, because I don't think people want to start selling this when there's no one's interested in this anymore, and there's not enough people selling or trading it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think they'd probably want the liquidity to stay there in order to get out. So I think at some point before this this craze ends, you'll see more weakness. That's just my thought, though.
Okay, we will monitor that. All right, what other stocks do you folks want to take a look at? I saw Tesla get a mention here. Real quickly, something else that I wanted to mention. So Tesla got a mention here. Let's see. There is no try was saying, will Tesla pump before the 1023 earnings release? I mean, there is no try, man. Your guess is as good as mine. Tesla seems to go back and forth all the time. So I would say yes, there's a really good chance that it will. How long will that last for? Your guess is as good as mine here. No position for those earnings, but we'll definitely be looking at that as we get closer to earnings there. Tesla, look at this. Look at this. So it was lower here in the pre-market. Looks like it's coming up off the bottom here. Tesla is probably going to be in play here today. All right. You want to
like 200?
Say again?
I still like 200.
You still like 200 for the next move? Okay, a little bit of a long-term
Well,
move.
not for the next move, but that's where that's where I think the price should go down to. I think there's going to be some more weakness coming. It looks like it's still about to roll over after this consolidation. Maybe earnings isn't up to par on what the investors are looking for, and it pulls it down to the 200-day SMA. That's what I'm looking for. I think that maybe long-term this is much better, but in the short term, I think we're going to get a opportunity here to get it cheap at a cheaper price.
13 is firm on 200 indeed, and there will be firm handshakes to go around when it reaches that level. One thing that I wanted to mention here, it's not necessarily related to Tesla, but it kind of is related to Tesla. I have been mentioning how on CNBC, we see a lot of these micro cap commercials kind of touting the stock. We saw that on that, what's that drone stock? Not LAZR.
Arcat?
Not Arcat.
AV?
No, that's a big drone stock. There was
Kratos?
No, dude. I'll think of it. I'll think of it. But real quick, we saw on LEXX, that was a GLP-1, real small microcap. They started doing commercials on CNBC. I saw one this morning on TLSA. So Tesla is TSLA. It's doppelganger TLSA. Yes, I've traded this on a fat finger on making a mistake. Yes. I'm sorry that happened, but yes. So just be careful. This getting some play with its commercials. Maybe there will be a PR here that pops it. You might see it being talked about on X or other trading rooms. People sometimes transpose the numbers, all of that. So just be aware here. All right, let's flip over to the main workspace. Let's get ready to roll. God, I'm glad to be back. What are you folks looking at first here?
Well, BioVie.
Let's see.
Okay. One of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of these materials, bullish today is because of the interest rate cut in China to help stimulate their economy some more. So sending basic materials higher. BIVI trying to push up here, trying to get back up. This is the one I was saying that it looks like it's trying to get over that. That 436, 440 level. It's trying to do that right now. After we get past that 440, it's got to contend with 460, and then finally that 488 from the pre-market high. Take that out. I have 510 as the upside target. Looks like we're going lower.
It looks like it just kind of snapped that VWAP to the downside here.
All right, so GRI, this one looks like it's getting going here.
Here is GRI. Looks like a push off that VWAP, maybe.
GRI. What else here? SYTA. That's a lot of these are just going down out of the open here. OKLO also went down. Tested the 65 EMA. This one actually, OKLO looks like we're going to see a little bit more profit taking if it can't recapture VWAP. It's currently trying to do that right now, though. Drug lower.
Howl being mentioned by Smoke Tuna. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna. Good morning. Happy Monday. Well, it's probably not morning for you, but great to see you.
Yes.
Not getting mentioned here.
305 popped out of the gate there. Looks like it wants to push higher. There it is. All right, SYTA. Here we go. Now we're getting some movement with SYTA. This is pushing up. Got a bit of a breakout going here.
Okay.
Beat all the pre-market highs. Let me see if I can figure out some levels for this.
On SYTA, we'll come back to that. BIVI, this is still kind of in here or consolidating in here. We'll see if this gets a bigger move to roll. BIVI.
See a little consolidation around $3.75 to $4 in SYTA, and then there's a gap to fill from about 588 to 690. And then there's also a EMA, a 65 EMA on the daily at 548. So let's say 550, somewhere between 525 and 550. That could be, potentially where we get more resistance in SYTA. Got a bit of a ways to get there, though.
Yep. Sorry, looking around here. Everything looks fairly normal here today.
BIVI pushing now. This is the one that we were looking for to get through the 440. It's doing that.
There it goes.
Next. Knocking on the door at 460, and then it'll want 480 and 510.
Sure is. 459, the high print. 460 is that level. Looks like it's pulling off of that level. Let's see if it holds this 440 area. So far, so good. Right back up to that 460. Boy, are we going to get a textbook call here out of the open?
GRI halted to the downside. OKLO rebounding. Now coming back up. Looking for the 2015 high.
I don't have any of that stuff here. Okay, hang on a sec.
BIVI through 460.
Already in and out. BIVI, way to go, Jay Summers. All right, getting that register ring fired up here early. That's what we like to see. OKLO pulling off that 20 spot. Looks like drug might be getting ready to roll here on drug.
BIVI just tested that 488 level and it came back in. Don't think that's finished, but we might see it consolidate before it tries to push up through 488 and hit 510. ISPC is just going nowhere but down so far. Let's see, maybe $6 could be the support level.
You guys are mentioning NVIDIA. So it looks like the SPY here is trading up off of its lows. Jay Rice mentioning that NVIDIA is strong. We'll check the Qs here as well. By the way, just kind of an update. I had an SQQQ trade that actually expired last week. Did not work as obviously the market kind of held in here. Jay's absolutely right. NVIDIA real strong off the gate here. Let's take a look at the Qs. This looks very much like the SPY pre-market chart. Looks like it kind of stopped there at 494 there. So used to talking about SPY, which is in the 500s. All right, Howell, Smoke Tuna, I think you mentioned this one earlier. That was good. That went higher here. VSee is lower. I don't have any setup for a new trade here yet for me. Yeah, NVIDIA calls getting swept up here on that strength. Wow. Number of different calls. 138, it looks like. Yeah, 140, 138 on those NVIDIA calls. Okay.
Rocket
drug looks like that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just reading what the chat was saying.
Drug looks like this pulled back to the VWAP and held so far. We'll see if it bounces. This one likely going to be wild here today. Not for the weak stomachs, I would imagine, on drug.
Rocket Lab getting mentioned, saying that it looks like it might be getting ready. What I can see here with Rocket Lab is that $11 even has a huge wall there, looking to get taken out. We do that, we could test that 1120 pre-market high.
SYTA, this came into the VWAP at 236 and bounced, although it doesn't really seem to have that strength. Lumen had a nice little move in the pre-market, although retraced 50% of it. What's going on here? Company announced it's partnering with Meta to significantly increase Meta's network capacity and help drive its AI ambitions. Okay, that's how's Lumen going to help Meta? I don't know. I don't know about that. The market here telling you that it doesn't know about that either. 50% of that move retraced. Lumen, I think this probably comes back in a little bit more.
That fiber optics. That's how they're going to help them.
Okay, but
because that's what they do.
Yeah, I'm. Let's see if it's actually a help. Maybe I'll be wrong on this one. We'll see.
No, fiber optics, I mean, no noise in the line. It's much.
Yeah, I just mean like a lot of these smaller companies just kind of talk about helping out one of these bigger companies. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. We saw that with NVIDIA, right? Some of the companies that partnered with NVIDIA did all right. Others just kind of threw it in there. It seemed like just to have a decent press release. Not really too sure.
Lumen's not a small company.
No, Lumen. Okay, well, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Sorry.
No. I'm not trying to go there. I'm just saying like that this is not one of these really small junky names. I know what you're talking about, and that's not what Lumen is, but I know what you're talking about, and I agree with that. But Lumen's not one of them. That's all.
Save looks like that's coming back in here. VSee, nothing but a big leak there. Mullen. I'm sorry, I even brought it up. I'm sorry, I even brought it up.
iSpecimen trying to recapture VWAP. OKLO testing the 65 EMA on the 5-minute again. A lot of these are polling.
Yeah, I don't see any great setups here. That
Looks like
iSpecimen would have been a really good off this bottom hold here. Wasn't ready for that though.
Rocket Lab did have that breakout over 11 and it popped up to almost 11.10 before coming right back in. See if we get some more upside movement in Rocket Lab.
Here is that Rocket Lab chart. SYTA did come into that VWAP and bounced. So actually, I have a little bit lower VWAP on my broker. Interesting. I got 225 as the VWAP on my broker. 236 is the VWAP here in TradingView. SYTA doesn't look like it's got the juice to go here. Save maybe on a VWAP recapture here, although I'm probably going to stay away from that one. Lumen did VWAP recapture, so we'll see here on Lumen.
Yeah, and Save is bouncing off its 200 EMA on the 5-minute, so we'll see if that holds. But I would need to see it to hold above VWAP, which is I currently have it trading slightly above right now.
GRI is open after that halt. Looks like it's moving lower on GRI. Careful on that one.
Looks like that one's going to 110.
Lumen recapturing its VWAP as we speak. We'll see if this can go higher on Lumen. Looks like $8 would be that next spot if it can get there. NVIDIA. Oh, those were calls and puts. Okay, I beg your pardon. It looked like those were just calls.
iSpecimen.
After that initial move up that you had called there, 13 pulled right back to the VWAP and held it. So maybe it's setting up for another move here.
Yeah, still holding VWAP for the time being. That consolidation from the pre-market that you got between where the price currently is and about $4, that's got to hold up. Otherwise, I think we're going to go down to the 375 area.
Fairchild mentioning GNPX here. This penny stock halted at the pre-market high there at 81 cents. Nice little push on volume into that level and a big halt there.
iSpecimen is halted, but I don't know if it's just because it was whipping around or what the situation was, but it doesn't look like it's really halted too much of the downside.
Looks like
just this volatility.
Yeah, it looks like it just kind of recaptured the VWAP and then knifed. Volume stick looks pretty substantial. Looks like you had some pretty good volume there, taking it off that $7 level and then selling it right back down to the $7 level. So halted here to the downside, iSpecimen.
Yep, and GRI is also halted to the downside again. Still think we're going to get 110 at the very least on that one.
Yep, I think the break there on the VWAP told you all you needed to know. That sent it into the first halt here. Now it's another halt. At this point, we want to wait for this. Maybe it holds $1. Smoke Tuna, I'd like to know what you think about a potential support here. Maybe 116 or $1 if it comes in.
Also, BIVI, that looks like it's headed to 65 EMA on the 5-minute, which is about 375.
Okay, so you're expecting some more downside here then?
That's a little bit, yeah.
BIVI, okay.
All right, so Rocket Lab still trying to push up here. Upper shadows don't look great, but it looks like it really wants to try and get over 1120.
Lumen, after that VWAP break, pull right back down to the VWAP and a snap? I'm not sure that this is going to have more strength yet. We'll see. Not looking great on Lumen. SYTA reclaimed that VWAP and is trying to go higher, and Save still rejected at its VWAP.
That's good news, Replay Game Lab. That's good news. Love to hear it.
Oh, okay. So you're taking gains, right? Replay Game Lab. Again, sorry, I am definitely trying to catch up here,
Yeah.
but it sure looks like. I mean, OKLO has been on a huge run recently, so good stuff there.
All right. Okay, OKLO trying to recapture VWAP.
BIVI also, BIVI, excuse me, also trying to recapture VWAP. Here that OKLO move that recaptured VWAP literally as we're speaking.
And here we go with Rocket Lab. We're starting to move up. Let's take out 1120. Come on now. And let's see what else we have turning around. Looks like Zim still doing some things. It popped up to 24.12 this morning, came back in, holding VWAP. I don't know. The volume doesn't look great on Zim. This looks like it's trying to push higher though. Drug, speaking of pushing higher, this has been getting some support from the 65 EMA for the past 15 minutes on the 5-minute chart here. So this is it looks like it's starting to turn around, trying to come back up and take out that $61 intraday high that it put in at the open.
Here you go on Drug, recapturing that VWAP.
Save trying to do the same thing after bouncing for the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Needs more volume to push up higher though and take out that pre-market high. I don't even know it'll get there.
Looking at the market here, SPY just totally trading back up. Did we run into some resistance there? I'll tell you what, it looked like the market was going to be weak here today. I'm not sure I buy that. Looks like the buy the dippers might be back. Drug halted to the upside here on a pop through that VWAP that we just talked about. Wow, that happened fast. GNPX halted.
Yeah,
this higher. Wow.
And you know, I may have mentioned it. You know, well, I know we were talking about it in the pre-market fist fight, but we have a lot of really big earnings for the next 2 weeks and a lot of big economic reports. This is going to be a volatile next 2 weeks, folks. So we are going to see a lot of this, I think.
That's, of course, into the election, too.
Into the election as well, into the end of the month, into all kinds of big inflation reports, into jobs reports, into all kinds of things. Mag 7, 6 of the Mag 7 report over the next 2 weeks, 5 of them next week.
So indeed, that is going to be a big catalyst here. WIS mentioning WINT. This just reclaimed its VWAP here. Looks like it's stopping there at 120, but might be able to get rolling here. Serve popping up towards 10.
Serving it up.
Serving it up indeed.
All right, so we're getting
Joby higher here. Yeah, sorry, I got no trades yet here today, folks.
iSpecimen unhalted, going lower. GRI unhalted, trying to turn around. I think there was one more. Drug still halted though. Yeah, looks like some of these are starting to turn around, or trying to anyway. Oklo still, you know, above its VWAP, trying to push higher. Wants 2015.
LTBR sitting right beneath its VWAP. Watch for that to reclaim if it can.
iSpecimen now halted again to the downside even more. If this can't get support at 6, I think it gets support at 5. And here goes OKLO. Looking for 2015. Actually looking for 21st and then that high. Here we go. Bye-bye, Oklo.
There it goes. Good stuff, 13.
Rock on ITA. What's ITA doing? I love that ETF. Oh, rock on. Rock on. Yeah, this thing is just making new all-time highs. Probably one of the greatest ETFs I ever had.
LTBR looks like it's really flirting with its VWAP here. Watch to see if this goes.
And here goes Oklo. Took out 2015 and going higher.
All right, so I started by asking, hey, when might we start looking for some downside moves on some of these? So far, not yet is the answer. We'll see if that changes here, but nothing yet.
Yeah, looks like GRI is trying to push back up. I would, exercise caution on this. It still seems like there could be more downside on this. Has to recapture VWAP, has to recapture some of these EMAs. That could be a daunting task for this one. Let's just wait and see what it does over the next few minutes. BIVI, it's just kind of going sideways today. Howl looks like it really wants to recapture its VWAP so it can push into that intraday high of 327.
LTBR broke through its VWAP, but didn't do it with the strength that we wanted. Kind of watch for that volume to expand here. Decent move through it, but did not continue to go. Here's Howl.
LTBR is holding its VWAP for the time being. As long as it can do that, there's a good shot it could still push up.
Looks like it just pulled a little bit. Let me go back to that here real fast. Sorry, flipping around between a bunch of stuff here. Here we go. So this is holding that. We'll see if we can go through. It's holding that 9 level right now.
Yeah, I feel like just a little bit more volume, a little bit more expansion. We could start to see this push up some more. 1040 is the level to take out here, but I think first we need to see it to recapture 960. Oklo still making new highs. This thing, that was a really good reversal. Really strong. You have these wicks on the bottom here, and they're all getting support from the 65 EMA. That was a pretty good signal. I didn't expect it was going to do all this, but that was a good signal that there was a lot of support coming in for OKLO.
OKLO, Glenn giving you a target. Oops. Glenn giving you a target here. 24.35 on OKLO. It's still like 3 points from where we're at. That would be a big move if we got that here. LTBR still holding at that VWAP. We'll see if we get it. Spirit holding at the VWAP. We'll see if we get that to move. BioVie just shy of its VWAP. We'll see if we can cross it. And SYTA also holding its VWAP here. So VWAP stocks at VWAP here today. At least that's what it is, what it seems to be so far. Grats on OKLO. That looks to be the big one. Drug here too, for anyone that's still trading drug. That did it again.
That's an interesting spot that you were mentioning with OKLO. That could be, I don't know where you're getting that from, if that's fibs or something else, but it seems like that kind of follows the trend from the past spikes we've had in this on the daily chart. So you draw a trend line from the April and May highs and keep that going. That kind of lines up with where that price target was that gentleman was mentioning.
That was Glenn, I believe.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. So there you go. Kind of this.
Come on, chart. Jeez. Figure it out.
That's
so you're saying this?
Yeah. Now look.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Danielle. How often does stuff like drug happen? Very, very rarely. Very rarely. You probably would see stuff like drug happen at the most, I'd say maybe once a quarter. But at the longest, maybe even like half a year to a year, you see it.
Lightbridge, sorry to interrupt. LTBR popping here. Try to trim into that move. Really good stuff on Lightbridge.
Looking for 1040. It's coming up right up to that 980 level that I was mentioning earlier. Trying to take that out. We take that, I think 1040 on the table. GRI still trying to push up and looking for a recapture of VWAP. Be careful with this one. It doesn't look like it's got a whole lot of strength at the moment.
Yeah, I'll be honest here. Just kind of looking at the chart and how this thing has traded here today, especially given some of the moves that we've got in OKLO, LTBR, maybe even BioVie, I would stay away from GRI here.
Yeah. Rocket Lab. Oh, okay. So this was riding its VWAP for the longest time. And then over the past 15 minutes, we were getting these upper shadows here. That was their signal that there was some more downside coming, and here we are. So
Bang.
Go to a 5-minute chart and kind of go to a 5 minutes. So you can see what I'm referring to with Rocket Lab. There you go, and just kind of scroll in see those upper shadows there, and then That's what we were looking for. That's what we were watching.
JJ saying, I'm on drugs. JJ, we can get you help, man. We're a family here. We can get you some help. I probably shouldn't make light of that. LTBR still holding here at 950, 978, that intraday high. We'll see if that's it for the day here. Decent trade off that VWAP cross, though. That actually got the volume we were looking for as well.
BIVI trying to push up here again.
Indeed.
Stick out 485 and give it itself 510. There we go.
485, your next spot. Here we go on BioVie.
That was lovely.
That was a really good call there.
All right, so now we're still waiting for some of these other ones to do their thing. How's drug?
Brian, good morning. Happy Monday. Glad. Hey, it's awesome to work with profits early. Don't even feel bad about that. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Oh, man. BIVI right to 485 and then a little bit of a pull. So that was
that was the right spot there.
We want to take that 485 out and give us 510. And here we go. There's a wall at $5.
Wow.
So wall at $5. Be careful. It took that out, and there's 510 and more.
There you go.
See it.
Wonderful job there.
Next upside target in BIVI, if I can say it before it gets there, is 585 to 590.
That was going pretty quick there. It's going to be halted here, isn't it? 538.
It's in the process right now. Yep. In the process right now. You're going to see it show up on your screen in about a tick or two. There it is. Halted.
Great call
on
that
fun.
one. That was great job.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That's
Anthony.
That's two there now that we've actually called really, really well in terms of where it's going. BioVie and Lightbridge.
Yeah, and it could GRI if this can keep up and recapture VWAP, that might be the next one. But this one has some pretty ugly looking volume. Be careful with this one. It may not get any higher than a 167, even if it can recapture VWAP. There's a lot of overhead supply here. Just be careful with GRI.
Crimp Biscuit here mentioning that call on BioVie and how good that was. Chewbacca approves. Really, really good stuff there on that. Also, Jay, you had mentioned NVIDIA earlier. NVIDIA has continued its strength from Jay's call this morning here. This is the 5-minute, 1 minute, 15-minute daily. I'll tell you what, look at this. Here's your daily here, this double top. This looks strong on all time frames. NVIDIA. And SPY's going higher here. Let's look at the NASDAQ futures are popping right at the highs. The buy the dippers are here, folks. I hope you're not short.
Our alpha, with some great words of wisdom here. And it was a great setup. Thank you for that. But he was kind of mentioning how, for the new traders, how you can take profit in a move like that. Not investment advice, just, kind of outlining how he would approach that. And it's
which ticker?
This was referring to BIVI.
Okay.
So that was just wanted to mention that there. Great little piece of information. Hopefully we're getting some good profits made here with some of our new viewers.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Like I said, I'm glad to be back. I am glad to be back. XPOM here actually might be setting up. I know this is one that we looked at earlier. It's kind of came in. It's kind of holding here. Maybe a close back to VWAP or a move back towards VWAP here on XPON.
Anthony, it looks like SYTA is trying to bounce right now, but I don't think it's bounced yet. It looks like it's trying to hold this level just above 2. That's what it looks like here. It looks like it could end up losing 2, but there's some EMAs that it might get some support from. But I think it's a little early to call this a reversal quite yet. But it certainly looks encouraging with this green candle it's trying to put in here. Let's just wait and see what happens with SYTA. Drug right back down to
halted. I was just going to say, I was waiting for you to finish. Drug halted to the downside here. So we talked about this one kind of being rough, difficult to trade, kind of back and forth. We're seeing that not even 30 minutes into the session, and we're seeing exactly that.
Anna Genesis mentioning that LGMK broke out. Hey, no problem, Anthony. Let me take a look at that.
Anna Genesis. I should probably say that too. I've been lazy and I've just been addressing him or her as P. maybe I should change that and do Anna Genesis. That's not too difficult to say.
So he was mentioning LGMK, and that did have a nice breakout
was
of
on
the
here,
pre-market high. This is a penny stock. It's under $1. It got as high as 15 cents. So if this is the kind of vehicle you want to trade, go for it. Be careful. But yes, that one we did get a breakout over the pre-market high, and then it came right back in. Hopefully you made some money off that. That was a nice move out of the open there. All right. We're still halted with BIVI. Oklo still making its way up to that level we outlined earlier. GRI, there's that poll that we were talking about, and I think Ryan, you were also mentioning how it didn't look very good. Could not recapture VWAP. This thing looks like it still wants to go down to the 110 area.
Yep, I'm with you on that. NASDAQ pulled a little bit off the highs. Comp, good morning. It's the first comment I've seen. Very, very timely. Looks like he's shorting NVIDIA here. Comp, would be curious to know what your target on NVIDIA is here. This is an intraday short. So this high that it put in, this actually corresponds with the NASDAQ futures kind of pushing in that high and then pulling off of it. We'll see if this ends up going lower here on NVIDIA. All right. Here at the rest. Really quick check-in here. VIX 1888, so it's sub 20 here, although it's a little bit elevated. Bitcoin has had kind of a rough morning here, selling off from that 68,500 handle down here to 67.5, just a bit beneath it. So we'll see if Bitcoin can really kind of get going again. Lightbridge here, this is still kind of consolidating above its VWAP.
Yeah. That last 5-minute candle didn't look great, but it's not terrible either. It's just an indication that this supply area up here from pre-market is a little bit stronger, but we're still making our way through it.
I just think that just to my eye here, it looks like this could kind of push to 10, especially if it got volume. And then what happens there would determine if it can go above 1040 or not. We'll see.
Okay. Well, BIVI is open, and it might be the next drug. Because this thing is just
my
ripping.
goodness. Here is
All
BIVI. Okay, so what do we do for trades? If you're not in this, what do we do for the next trade? Wait for this to maybe pull? Kind of wait out the halts? What are we talking? Because I don't think chasing, maybe it is. That's what worked on drug. Maybe you're right on that. I generally don't do that.
Well, I think this one, I would always exercise caution. So I'm not saying jump right in this at all. I think, yes, wait for this to come back down and consolidate, and we can get a better idea of where it's going to go next. I'll tell you right now that I have the 200-day EMA at 881. So that could be, another target that we look at for upside on this one. That would have to be if it can, looks like 635 to 640 might be a spot as well. And we're kind of right in there. So if we can get support right about where we're at, we might be able to get up to 881 today. So let's see if we can consolidate around the 640, 635 area. And it's kind of doing that right now.
Okay.
Fairchild, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Trading in an Oculus environment, the candles would be going everywhere. I feel like that would make me motion sick, honestly.
That's crazy because he's just basically creating a whole huge virtual desktop for himself. All right. Well, look, BIVI got that support, and now we're back to testing 7 again.
Edward here saying, I'm in it. I want to sell all of it. Look, I don't know what your position size is. Hopefully you trimmed into this move. This is a big move here from when we were initially talking about it. On the volume that we're also looking for, I think a trim here is pretty good.
You could even set limit orders on the way up. Since
absolutely.
That's where this thing clearly wants to go. 745 now. So, exit how you will. I think you have a lot of opportunities. You have some decent liquidity for it. Plenty of people on this stock. Googling Oculus Quest. It's basically what Meta came out with well ahead of Apple's Provision. Oklo might be finding some support as well. GRI consolidating, SYTA. It's SYTA seems like it's leaking, but not badly. Still think this might get better support around 185.
Okay. Real quickly here, it is 10 o'clock. I know we're actually 2 minutes past here, so we are going to go to our special guest here in a sec. But I promised you, here you go, folks. This is the first ever rattlesnake that I saw in person on the third tee box at TPC Scottsdale on the championship course. So as soon as I drove past this thing, it started rattling and hissing. It was not happy that we were there, but pretty cool to see that in person. All right. Let's go ahead and get to our special guest. Matt, good morning. Happy Monday. How are you here today?
Well, I haven't had to wrestle any alligators or rattlesnakes or anything like that. So that's pretty. I mean, was that the telephoto lens? I mean, that was looked awfully close.
I was pretty close. I was standing on the tee box with it. I'll tell you though, it was slithering towards another person that was admiring it. So survival of the fittest at that point, right? He was going to be the one to get bit, not me. I did zoom in a little bit on it. And it's funny that you mentioned that, Matt, because now after seeing this rattlesnake, the last time that I played golf in Myrtle Beach, I actually saw an alligator on one of the sand traps. So now I've seen an alligator in person while golfing and a rattlesnake in person while golfing. And I have lived to tell the story both times.
Are you going to run with the bulls soon or something? I mean, you seem to be flirting with danger all
you know what, Matt? If the Chicago Bulls can ever get their head out of their rear end, maybe I'll run with those Bulls, but I'm not making any trip to Mexico or Spain. All right. Good stuff here, Matt. We were just talking before you got on. We were talking about how this might be kind of a wild time leading up to the election. We've got earnings season pretty much starting up here. We've got some other Fed stuff going on here. What do you see with the market and where we're going here in the short term, mostly?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's short term. It's such. I've never seen a time where the market could see a big move in either direction with something that we think things that we're seeing out there in the marketplace. Of course, something like 9/11 comes out of the blue, that could always clobber the market. I mean, if they find the cure for cancer tomorrow, the market would shoot up in a wild way. But there are things we're seeing right now. On the negative side, of course, the Middle East, we have to worry about that. If that thing really blows up and oil takes off, that could pose some very serious problems very quickly. On the positive side, we just have this FOMO. I mean, as the market keeps feeding on itself, it's the money keeps flowing in because the S&P makes a new high almost every day. It's up 6 weeks in a row, and then you have the professional investors who this money's coming in. They put it to work immediately because their performance is at the end of the year, they don't want to be seen as having missed any of the rally, because their year-end bonus and is important for this year, and for next year it's important for marketing to say, hey, the market was up X percent and I was up that much too, or more, et cetera. So these schemes can all feed on itself, but the thing that you can see that people are hedging. I mean, again, this fear of missing out is out there. And again, see that it's only the individual investors. Well, the pros are on it too, because they have performance fear that they have to worry about. But we are seeing what's going on in the gold market and silver as well, and in the VIX. But the VIX is remaining elevated. Again, the VIX isn't sky high. It's up, but it's up near 20, which is quite high for something that's for a stock market that's trading at or near all-time highs. And so I could ramble on here for a while. And then, of course, the next thing we have to think about, like you mentioned, for the earnings. Remember last quarter, when those earnings started coming out, that's when we started to see the market sold off from, we're mid-October now. Well, last quarter was mid-July, same time, right in the middle as the earnings season started getting going. And the market started rolling over because, even though the chip companies were still reporting good numbers, the end users of those chips were not. And so this whole concern about, oh my gosh, we're not going to get this big spreading out of broadening out of earnings growth. And so that's really what we're going to be looking at. I think not so much this week. We get next week Microsoft and some others. If you start to see more concerns about that, it's going to cause some problems. So we got all sorts, and of course the election. So we got all sorts of stuff going on right now.
Yeah, I like how at the very end of all that you said, "Oh, of course we've got the election in there too." It's as if we didn't need any more things to kind of go after.
Right. And the thing about the election too is that people are like, "Oh gosh, we have to worry about what's going to happen with if Donald Trump or for that matter, Vice President Harris might lose and not accept the results." Well, that's actually the lesser of the concerns. My bigger concern is we have a repeat of 2000. When there's that neither side can declare victory, and we don't know who's going to be the next president for many weeks, which took 6 weeks or so in 2000 when Gore and Bush ran against each other. I mean, what are we going to do in a situation where with China and China did their third practice run at invading, or not invading, but doing the flyovers and stuff, practice run on what they would do if they invaded Taiwan just last week. We have obviously what's going on in the Middle East. We have Ukraine, etc. What are they going to do if they say, well, geez, the America doesn't even know who the heck the next president's going to be? That leaves us wide open to do what we want to do. So I think that could be a big problem. So I guess my point is, that's 2 weeks away, so I'm less worried about that until then. But that's the real issue, not if Trump or Harris doesn't accept the results. The big issue is if we don't have any results, which is a real potential.
Yeah, and then what does the world do to that? Okay, I'm going to ask you the hard question now. I know we kind of talked about that. How are you trading this environment? Are you preparing for that? Are you getting a position built ahead of the election? Are you trading in response to what you see with some of the global macro headlines? How are you setting up trades with this?
Well, first of all, I think you have to have at least some sort of protection in the marketplace. It's insurance.
Yeah.
Whether it be puts on the S&P, the QQQ, or the SPY, QQQ, whatever it might be, or VIX calls is another way to play it. Because if this thing in the Middle East blows up in a much bigger way than anybody's anticipating right now, we could have something like we had in 2020 when the market completely ignored what was going on with the pandemic, and when it finally kicked us in the teeth, the market dropped 35% in a month. Now I don't know that we'll drop that much, but we could drop a lot very quickly if the Middle East blows up and we get oil prices push above 100. So you have to have that. So again, and ways to do that, and we talked about this last week, is that we've made in the chat room here, we've made some real nice money in both the gold calls and the GDX, which is the gold mining calls. We've also last week we bought some silver calls. I'm sorry, for the SLV, which is the silver ETF. And we bought some. We made 100% on those on Friday, but we only sold half of them. We sold the other half. They're up even more today. And gold broke above its summer highs and has traded well above those. Well, silver is just now breaking above its summer highs, so it's got some catching up to do. I won't do it in a straight line, but that's some of the things that we're playing on right now. The last thing I'm going to say, the last one is Tesla. It's going to be very, very interesting this week. This stock has been riding its 100-day moving average. You don't necessarily look at the 100-day very often, but the 100-day moving average, that was key resistance earlier in the year. When it broke above it, it exploded higher. It came back down, tested it in August, bounced off it. Now it's testing it again. It's actually trading slightly below that this morning. But, again, it's riding that thing. I think it's coiled here. It's coiling up for the last week or so, week and a half, at that 100-day moving average. So when its earnings come out, if it's disappointing, it's going to get boom. It's going to break below that, be a big problem. If they're better than expected, they're going to shoot up. It's hard because whenever a company is about to announce earnings, the market makers jack up the prices of the options. So it would be expensive. Otherwise, I'd say it'd be a good opportunity for a straddle or a strangle. But either way, this stock's going to see, I think, is really primed for a very big move post their earnings, which come out Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. By the way, just for the visual aid here, this teal line is the 100-day. Matt, we look at the 100-day every day we pull up a stock here. So you're in good company. And as far as what you were saying here is that break away from the 100 where it really, really ran. And here absolutely is that coiling. It's also worth noting that this coiling action that we're seeing here is all pretty much on selling volume. Really good stuff there on Tesla. 13, do you have anything for Matt before we get him out of here for the week?
Yeah, I was just curious about you were saying that some institutions might be taking profit, so they have something to show for it next year when they're trying to bring new clients in. That kind of did I kind of get that right?
Well, no, what I say actually that if the market's rallying, they've got to keep going. They've got to stay with it because if the market's up 20 some odd percent, it's up like what 20, 22, 23% right now. And what's happening if it keeps going and it closes up 30%, and you say, I don't believe this rally, I'm gonna raise big time cash, and they end up 25%, and the market's up 30%. That's a big lag. It's not so much that that's they're going to affect their bonus a little bit, but more importantly, it's like, hey, everybody else was in the market, they're up 30%. So when their marketers are out there selling their fund, they're going to have a much better chance saying, hey, why would you buy that fund? They lagged behind the market last year. We didn't. We were right with it. So no matter what, I guess my point is these long-term, especially some of the hedge funds are one thing, but these longer-term investors, the mutual fund guys, if the market's running, and they say, hey, we're long-term investors, which is true, but they become short-term investors at the end of the year because if the market's rallying, they've got to go. If they can think that we're going to fall into a horrible recession next year, and that doesn't matter. It says, I'll react on January 2nd. I'm not going to react at the end of the year because if the market's running, I've got to be with it. I cannot fight that. So that is something that could actually help the market move higher because of, again, this performance fear. And, this is the kind of performance fear that can't be fixed with Viagra. You got to be in there in the marketplace.
It just looked like they were more set up to take profits next year. And if there was any, taking, money and stock off the table this year, I was more curious about that. So I was just kind of like looking for some clarity there because I think that would be a big indicator for us. If they start selling this year instead of next year. Yeah,
if they started selling this year, I think it would have to be over two things. Number one, geopolitics, or number two, if we really start to see that even further, because we saw this last quarter, that these end users, the Microsofts of the world, aren't getting the return on investment that they've been saying they'd get. And so those are the two things that could bring out, especially after the election, could get the market to get hit. But otherwise, it's hard, right? Otherwise, you got to, the way to play it is to stay with it. Don't fight the momentum, but have a little protection on the side as well. And the great thing about gold is that by buying that protection, it's not hurting you because it keeps rallying. So.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, really, really good stuff, Matt. Thanks again for the time. I can't wait to keep checking in. This is going to be a volatile fall here. Hopefully we've got some good news next week with some of the games being back. Matt, thanks very much for your time. We'll see you next time.
Sounds great. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, guys.
That is Matt Maley, folks. Again, if you want to check him out, I threw a link in the chat. He is on top of it. There are notifications for Matt, as you can see here. So really, really good stuff. 13, appreciate that. While we were talking about that, guess what? Hopefully you folks caught XPON. I had just talked about that on a potential move back to the VWAP. We got it. We got to break through the VWAP and then a pullback. So I actually did hit this one out here on XPON. Hopefully that worked for you as well. All right, 13. What am I missing? Oh, and real quick, well, Lion, I'll highlight the second comment here. Good to see you back, Ryan. Good to see you, Lion. And it's good to be back. Good to be back. All right. What else were we missing? What else were we missing? GRI, this hasn't done it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Oklo looks like this is it cooled off a little bit. Now it's trying to gear up to get ready to take out 21 and go higher, and it's kind of doing that right now. 21.69 is the intraday high. We were still looking for that 24 and change, so we'll see if this volume expands and helps take this out. BIVI, that came back in. It's kind of putting in the same formation as OKLO. Yep. This one's also trying to push back up, trying to take out 750 that it put in about 20 minutes ago. iSpecimen. This one is trying to recapture its VWAP. 2 unsuccessful attempts so far this intraday session, but it is getting support from the 65 EMA on the 5-minute at the time. SYTA, this is also trying to get back above its VWAP. Look for a recapture of that. I have VWAP there at 242, and it looks like GRI is going sideways. Drug is trickling down. That's about all I've got right. Oh, SAVE looks like that's still pushing up higher. Pre-market high on SAVE is 34.
OKLO looks like this is now trying to trade back up. We'll see if we take out that high there. Remember, Glenn gave us a price target in the 24s earlier. So OKLO, we've seen some pretty crazy momentum there. Frank, good morning, Frank. It's great to see you. Matt on a Monday doesn't get any better than that. Frank, we have a winner. I might start saying that every time we bring him on here, as long as Matt doesn't think it's too cheesy. I might go with that. Great to see you here, Frank. Really good stuff there. Okay. All right. We are getting it done. Looks like LTBR sold off. I'm kind of just looking for the next setup here. XPON, maybe there's some more here on this. This SYTA did get to the VWAP, although it couldn't cross above it.
Yeah, let's look for some volume expansion. MACD is kind of indicating that it's setting up to want to recapture that VWAP, but we need to see the volume to match it. Also, Jonathan Cooper mentioning Wolf, WULF on a run, and it is.
WULF here. Wow, that is on a. Ooh, wow, that was a nice move. So I'm sorry we didn't have this one on bring it up earlier here. This was a nice move through the VWAP, gave us a nice extended move, 64-cent move there through the VWAP on Wolf. That looks pretty good. Glenn mentioning that DJT is up on Trump's employment at McDonald's. That's funny and a joke. DJT is up here. We'll see if we get a trade on a pullback to VWAP. GRI is not really doing much. BioVie, GMPX new highs. We've had kind of a rocking morning here today.
Looks like Lightbridge is on its second attempt of getting to 65 EMA as support. The more it hammers these EMAs, these moving averages and levels, weaker they get. So we could end up seeing Lightbridge roll over here and go down to underneath 8.
GNPX right out of its halt here. This went higher. I think this is Playboy, PLBY, Playboy Group. I'm pretty sure this into a halt at 87 cents. Boy, what a fall from grace this stock has seen, or company. Save up near the highs. What was that? That was LTBR that you had there, right? LTBR.
Lightbridge.
Yeah, Lightbridge. Beneath its VWAP. BRB, 1 sec.
No problem. So he's okay. So it looks like Playboy was suspended, halted. BIVI, this is getting a trip down to the VWAP here, looking for support from that. ISPC, still we're getting rejected by VWAP. I think we also said that this was, continuing to get rejected all throughout the morning and still is. So needs to see some volume in order to take that VWAP out, which is at 757.
Press the button.
No worries. SYTA, this one also trying to get back above its VWAP. These two, SYTA and I just mentioned.
XPON fell away from its VWAP. This SYTA, very similar setup. I kind of like this 13. We think we break through this. This might be a trade here.
It has. We got to see that volume. That's the one factor I think is missing from this equation of SYTA breaking over VWAP. Needs that volume. Setups looks pretty good. Getting some support from that 2 to 20 area. Just need to see that volume expand and take out that all these sell orders up to VWAP.
Okay, we'll see here on SYTA. 220 looks to be the level for it to hold here.
Yeah, and DS, that's kind of where I'm at. There's no volume right now. We need to see volume expansion.
Yep. SMR. So this one is moving here. We talked a lot about OKLO. We'll see where that's still at here. This went right for those highs. Tell you what, I wonder if this breaks those highs and goes higher here. It's already up 17% here today.
Nike may test 822 support again today. Let's take a look at Nike and see how.
Ooh, what's that at here? All right. Tell you what, that Nike, I was hoping for more on that Nike short. Didn't really get it though. There might be another move coming up.
I want to see what happens by the end of the day. Why is that not giving me? Okay. I
was wondering the same thing.
I want to see what happens by the end of the day with Tesla, because right now it's currently trading beneath the 50-day SMA. I want to see if it recaptures it by the end of the day, or if it tries to do that tomorrow. This will be the third red candle in a row on the daily chart for Nike. I would think tomorrow could be a greener day.
WINT. Wiss, you were on this one earlier. This has not been able to really punch through its VWAP, but it's not breaking down yet. So really not out of the question until it starts to break down. Maybe keep this one on your watch list for this afternoon.
Rocket Lab currently in the process of recapturing VWAP, or trying to. Needs better volume, but if we start closing these 5-minute candles above VWAP, we may be setting up for more upside.
Okay.
All right. Kind of just waiting for some of these to move. Looks like GRI is starting to get a bit of volume here. Not enough, but some.
Yes.
Maybe we could keep a closer eye on GRI, see if it can recapture its VWAP.
Yeah, this one I think really needs to take out 148 to go to that VWAP.
Wasn't that great, Fairchild? That was a nice way to end the game. Really did like that. That was fun. It was a good game.
Yeah, your kicker, last second field goal. And I'll be so having some kicking trouble up there in Green Bay. I bet that felt good to get that dub yesterday.
Well, we needed him to pull through at a crucial moment.
Yeah, and he did. And that's what I'm saying. And he did. So
I know we've seen a lot of kickers this year just absolutely ruin the whole game for their team, doinking it, missing. There's been some really bad field goal kicks this year. Really bad ones.
Yeah, there has been. Thuy from X wants to know about Tesla. I actually really liked what Matt was saying there. And speaking of Tesla, we do have earnings here in 2 days on Wednesday. I think what we might do is we might ask Anne Marie about a potential Tesla trade tomorrow when we have her on after live trading. So think about that if you're looking for Tesla here. So far, it's kind of holding in here. We'll see on Tesla. I've had no trade on this today. I haven't seen anything here that's made me want to trade this today.
What do the $200 strike weekly puts look like?
$200 weekly. Bring that up here real quick. You know what? I actually think for a visual aid purpose, I think we can do that right here, can't we? There we go. TSLA.
Oh God, the hope was real, wasn't it, Fairchild?
What?
He's saying love the players holding hands on the sidelines.
Okay. Okay.
Please go in.
So what were you looking for here again on Tesla?
$200 strike puts weekly. Just want to see.
Right. So we want the weekly contract. The nearest weekly contract is going to be the October 25th contract. The $200 puts. Ask 113. So 111 by 113 is going to be the cost of those for your 200 put weeklies, or your 200 weekly puts, excuse me, on Tesla. Looking at $112.
Gotcha. I was just curious to see if that was people were thinking it was going to go down and they were loading up on puts or not.
Yeah, well, let's see. If we look at the open interest here, you're exactly right on that, right? So that weekly open interest strike has the most amount of contracts held open here at 18,000. Honorable mention here to 210 and 220. So it looks like the round numbers there getting most of it, but that 200 that you flagged, 13, that seems to have the highest.
I don't think it's any secret to anybody here why I was looking at 200.
Not at all. I mean, if you've been listening to 13 here, you've been very, very consistent on your 200 calls. And in fact, I think you mentioned that to me this morning, didn't you? Yeah, you did.
Yeah. That's just the spot that I think it goes to. It's the spot I like the most. It's a previous level I've had. I have other levels beneath that too, but I think the 200 seems to be the best one right now. All right, so still watching some of these try to make their moves. Looks like
Good morning.
VI trying to turn around. OKLO could still having a hard time getting above 2169. Actually, we're testing VWAP right now. SYTA sideways. GRI trying to recapture VWAP. Got a huge wall here at 141 on GRI. It's got to get through. But if it does, and it's chewing through it right now, this may actually have some upside here if we can get over that level at VWAP. Of the same opinion on that. Perfect.
There you go, Carm.
UBT.
You know, maybe I will try. Maybe I will. Let's see. I got some time to decide. Maybe we'll play Tesla for earnings this time around. Just have some fun.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was going to say maybe speak with Anne-Marie first.
That's well, of course. We got time. We're going to do that tomorrow. In fact, let me put that on my sheet so I don't forget this. I think you guys will remind me, but just in case, we'll make sure. Yes,
Our group doesn't let you forget it.
Yeah, I was going to say that's actually, so real talk here for a sec. Sometimes my short-term memory turns into like goldfish style memory where someone will say something to me and then I'll do something else and then I'll come back not even 5 minutes later and forget what they told me. And I'm embarrassed about that. But what I will say here is that our chat, our entire group here has really, really helped with that. You folks keep me on task more than you know. I probably don't thank you enough for it now that I think about it. But you folks do a really, really good job of keeping me on task. Crowdsourcing some ideas. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, I just seeing a lot of these names just kind of go sideways right now or down.
Oh, look at APVO. That's a penny stock that's going here.
Is there news? It looks like that's a news catalyst kind of move.
I didn't even, with penny stocks, I didn't even check. I just kind of moved on here. No, I don't see anything fresh there. It's possible I missed it, though. I haven't been on the Twitter streets as much as I normally am.
I don't see it either. Yeah, no news really since Friday. And even that was like a warning. I don't know what where this goes, but I think we could probably draw on some levels. Okay, so we're actually through a big old consolidation level. It looks like 50 cents is going to be the next spot. That'd be my guess. All right. GNPX, another halt. ELF breaking out. And Ryan, you are not a fish.
I'm not a what?
You're not a fish.
Ryan, you are not a fish.
Yeah.
You know what? Things are so good here today. I'm just going to take that as a compliment. Okay, thank you, Aura. ELF, by the way, I already did the mea culpa here on ELF. So Dennis won that. That actually pulled back here and looked like it was going to retest 100, but ELF going higher here. Dennis 1, Ryan 0. We'll even that back up, though. I'll get him.
Genprex, the one that
GNPX, yep.
GNPX, that's halted to the downside right now after popping up to 145. I don't know that this is the time to get in this one. If it starts to look like it's going to lose $1, I think you're going to get a bearish pattern. So be careful with GNPX.
Let's see what happens at the VWAP here. That's going to be the next area.
All right, what's happening here with BIVI? Is this going to make the move? Certainly trying to push into the 6 handle again. Oh, goldfish memory. That's why you're not a fish.
Oh, you are not a fish. Got it. Nessie? That was just such an off comment. I didn't even get it. But that's well done. See what I mean about the chat being there to help you? Case made. Case made.
and here we go with BIVI again. This thing is starting to push up again after getting some VWAP support. And that's one of the only ones that seems to be doing anything at the moment. Just clicking through, seeing what we can grab here. So we're getting some weakness in a bunch of names. JCSE looks interesting. Let's take a look.
Replay Game Lab. Ryan, I thought the goldfish memory was because you loved baked cheddar treats. So real talk here again, I do really love goldfish as a snack, the Pepperidge Farm goldfish, of course. I don't think I've had that in like 10 years. Maybe that's a me problem. I'm not disputing that, but I haven't had those in a while. Which was the ticker you wanted to bring up here? By the way, BioVie going again, folks. Didn't quite get to the VWAP, but it's going again here. Volume is expanding as we speak. Maybe 13, I might watch this one. Let me know if you have another setup here on BioVie, or other than BioVie. Excuse me.
Oh, okay, yeah, I took that one off the screen because I was taking a look at JCSE. There's was saying it looks interesting. This one kind of on the verge of some more consolidation here. I think if we can get above 250, that could make this one real interesting. This one could be another runner. Let me see here, because it's had a good move this morning. What is this even going on?
Around here.
Earnings? No. I don't see any news on this one since October 1st. Manufacturing and selling of cleaning systems.
Oklo's pulling back. Let me take a look at that. Sorry, I kind of got distracted there looking at X. Oklo is actually beneath its VWAP. What we would need there is going to be a recapture of that. Unsure if we get it.
I have a suspicion about JCSE. Let's take a look here. Okay. This is one of those, this is on the compliance theme. Nope, I'm sorry, that's wrong. That reverse split was last year. Still think it might be on the compliance theme though, because the news in here is that back in September, they remained on NASDAQ after compliance. They moved on the Fed announcement to cut rates by 50%. That was from September. I've only seen a couple of headlines from October, and that was on October 1st. I do not know why this is moving. Just another junk squeeze, maybe. Can GRI get the VWAP down to 141? Well, I'm sure if it can, if it trades, under that long enough. But looks like it's trying to recapture that VWAP. That's what it looks like, and it's hard. It looks like it's hard pressed to do so too, because there's a lot of sellers in the way.
GNPX is bouncing here. That might be going back for its highs, although it kind of slowed down here.
Where do we end up with BioVie? Is that thing still moving?
ELAB penny stock went through its VWAP. iSpecimen just flagging.
Oklo trying to hold 2015. That was the pre-market high. Currently beneath VWAP right now, but trying to hold that pre-market high.
It looks like it's trying to recapture its VWAP here, doesn't it?
Yes. And Crimp Biscuit, the GRI is certainly trying to push, but that volume doesn't look great. Maybe in a little bit, maybe in the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so, we start to see that volume expand a little bit more. But we're not going to be able to recapture this 65 EMA, maybe not even the VWAP, until we see a lot more volume. Then maybe it's probably going to have to be like 2 million shares every 5 minutes, something like that kind of rate. Because right now it's trading, it's picking up. But it's still beneath 2 million. And when it was really weak, it was under 1 million shares every 5 minutes. So need to see some more volume expansion.
Oklo just recaptured its VWAP here. I don't know if this is going to go, but we just recaptured it here in real time.
I'm looking at it in the process of trying to recapture it. Once we
what do you have the VWAP as?
Mine is 2025.
Okay, I've got it at 2019, so it's right there. Got you. Okay, let's still.
Yeah, what was that last candle? That was closed at, okay, so the last candle, the last 5 minute candle I have closed at 2018, so right beneath the VWAP, at your VWAP. I want to see candles start closing above that.
Gotcha. Okay. We'll see if we get one here on OKLO.
Wolf coming back in. That was a really good move from, let's see, it was about 5:15 all the way up to almost 6. Good move there.
There goes OKLO. I would trim into this if you played that VWAP move. I know we all have a little bit different VWAPs, it seems like. Oklo looks like this might be decent. See, it's pulling back here. AMD, so real quick here, comp, Advanced Micro Devices short closed. I can't remember what you did on Tesla. I must have missed that post. Sorry about that. Tesla here, This looks like you were probably short in this one too. 220 seems to be where Tesla's kind of holding.
Well done, Jay Summers, and good discipline to, back off when it looks like it's done.
Boom. Well done, guys and gals.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of stuff is pulling. It looks like GNPX though is going though. GNPX, might get a break over 145 here. We can continue with this expansion.
Yeah, like I was saying here, this might be going back for those 140 highs. I actually have the higher at 145, so we'll see if we take that out.
Yeah, 140's got a 135, 140, and 150 all have a lot of sell orders there. So it's we're gonna need some big volume here in order to go through those. So far, it looks like we're getting it. Cycling through. SYTA looks like that one's still having a hard time getting back above VWAP. Might even go back down and test $2.
SYTA here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Totally rejected at VWAP.
And that's kind of been the case with SYTA for much of the morning. So this might be one that, comes back later.
GRI here. Looks like this has tried to move back to VWAP twice here, stopped at 150. So I would imagine here, as far as a trade, downside spot here, 130, upside spot, 150. We're in no man's land here at 140 on GRI. I think we could probably close that. If we're able to pop that 150, I think we probably move back to the VWAP. I've got it at 162. We'll see if we get that.
The VWAP for you on GRI is 162?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I'm at 144.
Oh my God. That's really here. Let me check that's Trading View. Let me check my broker here. I didn't have it pulled up in my broker, but let me do that and see where we're at on that. I've got VWAP here 157 on my broker. 154. So 154 on Thinkorswim, 157 on the prop, and 162 in Trading View.
Here's GNPX on the verge of taking out that 145 that we were talking about. Made its way through that 135.
Yep.
Consolidation wall of sell orders. Got to take out 150 here.
GNPX has been halted 5 times here today. I would say if you take out 145 and 150, which has size 13, I think this might halt again to the upside.
That's a very, very likely outcome.
Yeah.
Let's see what it does. Wolf really coming back in. Playboy really coming in. Same with APBO. Looks like everything is kind of pulling right now. Lightbridge is really starting to lose some support levels here. This might end up going down somewhere between 750 and 715 before it finds more support.
GNPX still flirting with that 145.13. I wonder if this happens right here.
If it does happen, I think it's going to be it'll probably be a very big move. If it does happen, it's going to take a big order to come in and take out all those sellers.
Yeah, and real quick, just to kind of bring some context here, the stock was 40 cents on Friday. 40 cents. So to your point about the volume 13, it's going to need a lot of it in order. It's already up 230%. If it's going to try and take out a level and go even higher, it's going to need more volume than what it has. See if we get it.
Nice on picking up the bottom line atlas webcoin mentioning BIVI again. Is this thing doing stuff now?
Comp, appreciate you getting back to me here. Tesla short trimming. You started the Ryan shorted off 220. That's what I thought. So you did a short here right at 220. This was a very, very clear intraday level. This has been a level before that we've talked about. Nice move back down to the VWAP here. This is textbook short trading, Comp. Well done. Well done. And Lion Atlas, you were talking about, you did better. I tried Humana the first time it sold off. Didn't do all that well. It looks like if you were adding this at 238, that was what, a dead bottom? No, not quite, but that was pretty good bottom right there on Humana. By the way, this gap almost filled here. Another 9 points and we fill the gap here on Humana. It was a really good trade. I kind of wish I was in that one.
Yeah, Anthony, it certainly is. VI just really having a bit of a struggle here. MACD is kind of indicating that if it can't break up through that 630 pretty soon, we're probably going to be testing VWAP again. All right, SYTA, at the moment, it's getting some support from the 65 EMA on the 5-minute, but volume needs to be better or else it's going to fall through that as well. Drug really coming down now after that 62, almost $63 print this morning. We are now underneath 50 and looking for a reversal.
Look at GMPX.
There it is.
It took out 150, 154, your high print, little bit of size there at 155.
There it is. Now, if we get enough people noticing that, they're going to start coming into this and it'll halt, but no halt yet. APBO really coming down. Same thing with Playboy. Wolf finding some support at 550. BIVI. See if SYTA can turn around here and get going.
Here's Oklo. So we talked this one actually doing some consolidating before the next higher move. That's good to see. I've got 220 as that VWAP, by the way. Also, market here. So I don't know if we covered this. Market is really kind of coming back in. Here's your SPY chart.
Oh,
right. Just kind of gives you an idea of the back and forth we've had here today. Weaker in the pre-market, been bought up straight out of the open, then reversed here. See if we get back down to this 580, 250 low. Qs look similar to this. Your NVIDIA move doing the same thing here.
yeah.
I tell you what, this NVIDIA chart looks really good for those shorts that you were doing here, Comp. When we opened up lower, we showed some weakness on the market. Buyers stepped in right out of the open, right to a level, and then stopped there. Gave you a pretty decent short entry. Really good stuff here today.
All right, let's look at a daily chart on SPY. Just kind of curious about what the price action has given us. Not a lot. Kind of just rejecting some trend lines, and that's about it. Can't really draw a whole lot on the SPY movement so far.
Yeah, I'm almost at the point now where I'm kind of wait till we finish up for the day, and then I try to make my assessment for the day after. BioVie here, by the way, looked like this was trying to curl to take out that recent high, and is broken down here. 535 is the VWAP. This looking like it has a downside move here, and I'll tell you what, if this downside continues, this is one of the things I'd be looking at here. Clear intraday downtrend on BIVI.
So I'm going to say for SPY, a real interesting spot looks like 582 and either 30 or 35. And the reason I say it looks interesting is because on Wednesday and Thursday, both closed almost exactly the same price, despite having very different price action. They both closed right at that same spot. So I'd be looking at that as a potential level. 582.30. We'll just leave it at there. All right. Now what? Now what are we looking at?
I'm still kind of watching the SPY here. It looks like it might also keep coming in here a little bit.
Well, if it gets down to 582.30, let me know what it starts doing. Spiro Bill is planning to take profit on the Nike short for 50% of the position at 82.23, then 81.05 if it breaks down below 82. Love the plan. GNPX 161 is the high it just put in, and it might have a hard time pushing higher.
That GMPX move, we called that one too. Really good set. Can we get a like smashed up here for 13 in the chat group? Awesome.
Chat is on fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. First day back here, green, Having fun. Good to be back. You just love to see it, folks. You just love to see it. By the way, SPY pulled to the pre-market low and tried to bounce here. I'll tell you what, if something doesn't turn around here, I actually think we might. I'm going to stick my neck out here. Every time I do this, I end up looking like a fool. But here we go again. So SPY right down to the pre-market lows here. I think if we can't hold this here, I do think SPY goes lower. I know the buy the dippers have been strong, but I think that this might go lower here today.
That hit the level I was waiting for. The 582.30.
You hit it. Were you waiting for it to reverse and go back up, or were you looking for more downside?
Well, I said that was a level. That's so I was just wanting to see what happens there. We hit that level, 582.30, and it looks like we're reversing. So those 2 days, the closing right in the same area, I felt that was interesting enough to at least make that a level. And it looks like if we continue up with this upside, I think that's where we can draw on why we got the strength right where we got it.
Okay, let's see if we hold here or if we revisit some of those lows. Right. BNPX continuing to move here. Oh my, folks, we're going to get the trifecta with this one. Let's go.
180, next wall.
There we go.
Let's look for some levels here on this one. Let's see what I can find. Nothing there. It's too high.
While you're looking for levels here, just kind of looking at Lightbridge, this did do a decent job holding this $8 level. It's trying to curl up. Lightbridge maybe back to its VWAP here. It's got a little bit of size there at 853. But
GNPX is halted now.
Okay, let me go to that. GMPX halted to the upside. It's 7th halt of the day, by the way. GMPX.
$2 has a lot of consolidation in it. Let me see what that looks like. Okay, so not. It seems like every 5 or 10 cents there seems to be a large seller. I don't know what's going to happen out of the halt with GNPX, but I think that if it gets up to $2, that could be a big resistance area. Let's see what happens. All right, back to the 5 minutes.
BioVie turning back up. Oh, Crimp Biscuit saying that Crimp Biscuit has made the call. It's over, folks. 13 has the best call of the day. It was BioVie at 4.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Boom.
Nice. I'm glad you made money on it.
I'm telling you what, though, this trend line here that we just popped on BioVie, this to me seems to be the spot here. Let's call it 620. Got to get over it. Not sure it's going to.
Speaking of getting over some things, GRI is trying to push over the 65 EMA. Currently seeing resistance here. If we close above the VWAP, we might see this move up higher.
Lightbridge might be coming back to its VWAP. Took out some size that it had at 851.
Yeah, GRI, it looks like it could get going, but that volume expansion, we need to see that happen. Now, it's good that we just got a 5-minute close over the VWAP, so we could start to push up some more. But temper expectations. This thing doesn't have the greatest volume at the moment. And I say that, and then it starts really starting to move. Temper expectations with this one still.
Lightbridge. Maybe back to its VWAP there, 888.
Small caps, IWM near or at lows.
Indeed, I can attest to that. So here is your IWM chart. Yikes. Yikes.
Okay. No, we actually, you know what? This is something that we said that could happen last week. This is it was breaking out of a symmetrical triangle, the IWM. We got over 225, and one of the things that you can get with these symmetrical triangle breakouts is a back test of the upper trend line. That's what's happening today. So
okay.
if we lose that, so I'd say if we lose 222 and head lower to like in the 220s or lower, then yes, I'd say that pattern's broken and we have to look for something else. But this is something that we talked about that could happen: a breakout and back test of the symmetrical triangle, and that's what we're getting today.
Okay. GRI back to its VWAP. Great call there.
Yeah.
Great volume. That was a decent trade.
Yep. Expanding volume that helped bring us back here. Now we're at the pre-market consolidation. Don't know how much more we're going to get out of this. Remember, temper expectations. If you're still in this and it keeps going, great. Just be careful. This is very, very. It looks like it's a pretty weak name still. I don't want anybody getting hurt in this one.
Save looks like after all the back and forth here today, Save really just found resistance at that 220, which was that pre-market high. I guess there was a trade here if you bought that pullback, but frankly, I think we did better focusing on some of these other names from the open here.
Jonathan Cooper, it's a theme. It's a theme we talk about a lot.
Indeed, it is.
There are a lot of these delisting candidates that they have to reverse split. They have to make an offering or raise money somehow. These are the ones that we trade. This is the theme that we've been on for a while. Absolutely, every week we have some kind of candidate that's delisting make a run. Absolutely, and it doesn't make any sense, but that's not what we're here to do. We're not here to make sense of these junky names.
We're here to react to what we see. Absolutely, 13.
I mean, these other names, these bigger ones that actually are actually real companies, we can try to make sense of what they're doing. We cannot tell you when you should buy or sell, Daniel. You have to do that on your own.
Yeah. Sorry, Daniel.
We can just point out setups. We can point out what.
And we can talk about what we're trading, but we are not licensed and we cannot give you trading advice.
Exactly. CETX, another candidate looking to move. Take a look at that. Looking to move. It looks like it already has begun to move. It is already taking out the pre-market high, getting into the pre-market from Friday now. Bit of consolidation up in this area in the 30 cents area. So don't know how much. I don't even know what this is moving on, but I'd like to see it break out of 35. That'd be the 35 and a half. You know what I mean? Cash down on GNPX at 170.
OKLO kind of hanging out beneath its VWAP.
GRI, putting in some upper shadows that we don't want to see. It got up to the pre-market consolidation at looks like 162, 163, that area, and getting a bit of a rejection. So if this continues to reject, it may come back later, but that's a lot of consolidation to push through.
Lightbridge here. This is continuing to move back up towards its VWAP. I would trim at this spot. If you took a little off that bounce, I think 888, that is going to be your spot there. 880's got a little bit of size on it.
Jay Michael, I'm glad. That's the only advice I ever give. And I'm glad that you took it and it's working out well for you. I'm really good to hear that. At some point, we're all going to get so old that we're not going to be able to have fun like this. We're going to have to rely on what we've got. So I'm hopefully your fiduciary is doing you well, man. Good to hear. How's McDonald's doing today? That's a great question, actually.
Flat to down, probably.
Well, technically it opened higher.
Yeah, it opened higher, but it's flat at the moment, down about 0.25%.
Doesn't matter. Trump was there serving it up. He's brought it into new all-time highs. At least that's what I think he would say. It's like the stock's at all-time highs now because I was there. That's something that sounds like he would say, and he would be right because he did. Because it did make new all-time highs today.
Save, maybe it goes. I'll let you guys trade that if it does, though.
GNPX, after ripping to 185, it is halted now to the downside.
GRI halted to the downside. Looks like it was rejected at VWAP and pulled. Yikes. On GRI.
Oh, yeah. Pulled on VWAP. Let's see if this continues to go down. Still looking. Well, it's got to make its way through all the consolidation it put in underneath this price. But if it can make its way through there, which I don't think it'll have a problem doing, 115 would be my my support level there. The earliest one, I think. Wolf Back above VWAP, looking to take out the 594 high, currently at 577. And what else do we have going on here? It looks like Lightbridge on the verge of testing that VWAP again. I have VWAP at 884, and the MACD is looking like it's trying to curl. So there could be a recapture here of the VWAP on Lightbridge. It's LTVR. A PVO, also trying to recapture its VWAP. Oh, this is one of those penny names. I should probably take that off my screen.
LTVR. Oh, looks like that didn't quite get to the VWAP and now pulled on Lightbridge. Bummer.
Yep. Back down to the 65 EMA. These names looking weak. BIVI. This. Oh gosh, I don't know. It looks like it wants to go and push up over 670 again.
They took that trend line out. This was the first thing that we said we needed to get taken out. Now we've done that.
Yeah, it's just the volume doesn't look that great, but you know, it could push up to 670 and then come right back in. Maybe I could see that happening, but let's be careful with this one. A lot of these names are really starting to lose their appeal. ASTS back after 5 days of gains. Oh, pullback. My bad. Anyone have any China stock news? Well, they cut some rates, and I think that's why we're seeing you know, the market do better. They did that over the weekend. It's also helping drive basic materials up.
Folks, we are going to be sending you over to Trader Bacon here in just under 2 minutes. Just under 2 minutes. You don't have to do anything. I will redirect you there. Thanks for all of the warm welcomes back. It is good to be back from the desert here. And it was a really good day here today, too. Really good day here today. Good morning, Amanda. Just coming to say hi just as we're about to end. Well timed, Amanda. Well done.
Well, it's been a good morning. We've
Sure
captured some movement out of these names that seem to have fallen asleep now. So that's. Hope everybody's had a pretty good day. I mean, shoot, seems like some of these you may have just had your whole day, and you're going to go do some other stuff. If that's the case, great job and have a good one. Yep, I'll see you in happy hour, Lynn. You have a great rest of the day, Cade Father. Looks like SYTA is on the verge of losing a support level here. Looks like we may go into the 180s in a bit if it cannot hold this level.
Okay. Which one?
That was SYTA.
SYTA. Okay. All right, 13. That's going to be it for us today. I'm going to send you over to Trader Bacon. Any closing words for our group here today?
You know, it's looking like it might be a mostly muted day. Don't try to force anything, folks. If you already had a great morning, let's just keep it that way, and we'll have another great one tomorrow.
I think that is perfect. We will be back here tomorrow. For those of you, we'll see you later in happy hour. Have a good one, folks. 13, really good stuff again. We'll see you folks tomorrow.